Good morning and thanks for choosing Fox 10 News on this Saturday morning. I'm Lee Peck. Meteorologist Matt Barentine joining me now in studio. Matt, still chilly out there, but not as cold as it was earlier this week.
Not as cold, but still pretty chilly. So you're going to have to bundle up here this morning. But the good news, if you don't like the cold weather, is that we're going to move away from that.
I don't have a problem
very
with it.
quickly. Yeah, it's going to be much different tomorrow morning than what we have this morning. So yeah, big changes on the way. Let's go ahead and start out where we are right now, and you can see those 30s out there. In fact, we got even a freeze on the board there over in Crestview. Got 31 degrees, 34 right now in Evergreen. We got 45 though down in Destin, so milder there. Let me zoom on down here. We're looking at Wilmer at 37 and Mobile at 39, downtown at 37. Yesterday morning at this time, we had a light freeze areas north of I-10. So we are, as Lee was saying, at least a few degrees warmer than that. Not a lot, obviously. It's still chilly. I mean, we're in the 30s, but you know, that's some 6-7 degrees warmer than what we were yesterday morning at this time. Fairhope out there at the airport. The airport's east of town. In a wide open field, tends to be one of the colder spots there on the eastern shore at 31. But if you go in town, it's likely several degrees warmer than that. 34 Lillian, 45 Perdido Key, 44 in Pensacola. All right, so here's your satellite radar. It's pretty quiet with the rain, at least. There's no rain around, but there are some clouds that are going to work their way in. We're going to have a cloudier day today than we had the last couple of days, so we'll have the clouds around here throughout the day. You'll see that here on the Futurecast. But you don't see any green there during the day, so not looking at rain. So you've got some plans today, going to the Senior Bowl or something like that. Shouldn't have any issues with any rain. Just going to be cloudy and a bit breezy at times. As we get into the evening, a few little drizzles will begin to happen, so we'll see the rain chances pick up late. So usually most of it's going to be overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. There's the temperatures. You can see we do warm up pretty good, be in the mid 60s by this afternoon, and there's those breezes out of the south-southeast, 14 to 15 miles per hour.
Well, breaking this morning, detectives in Pritchard telling us they found that missing 11-month-old child. According to the detectives, the suspect, Jacoby Antone, returned 11-month-old Camo Antone around 5:50 this morning. Now, the child is safe and unharmed, and Jacoby will now face several felonies. The ABI, FBI, Mobile Police, National Center for Missing and Exploited Children assisting Pritchard Police in the search. This, of course, a developing story. We'll continue to bring updates both on air and online. Well, the state's set to move to the next distribution phase in just over a week, but some locations in Mobile already starting to vaccinate those new groups. The Alabama cruise terminal inundated on Friday with newly eligible people looking for the COVID vaccine. The eligibility requirements to get a shot weren't supposed to take effect until February 8th. Once the line formed, though, the Mobile County Health Department ramped up their operation, allowing newly eligible people 65 and older, as well as some frontline workers, to roll up their sleeves.
The pent-up demand that we have witnessed over the last couple of weeks among those that were not eligible until today was really staggering.
This expansion to more groups does not mean it's going to be easy to get a shot. The health department has some more clinics planned next week. To get that information, you can head to this story on our website. You'll also be able to see exactly who is eligible in this next new phase. Well, there are a few clinics coming up in Mobile County for first responders and people 75 and older. The Sims Health Center on Wolf Road will be hosting a clinic on Tuesday. Citronelle hosting a drive-through on Thursday at Family Health on North Mobile Street. And Belsall Middle School in Mount Vernon will also host a clinic next Saturday. All three clinics will be held from 9 a.m. until 2 p.m. Vaccines will be provided on a first-come, first-served basis. Just a reminder, they ask you to bring your ID. And remember, if you live in Baldwin County, current eligible people can now get vaccinations at OWA starting next Tuesday and Thursday. Vaccinations will start at 9 in the morning until 3 in the afternoon. The drive-through clinic will be located in the parking lot on the north side of the park across from Trattoria Pizza. This is also first come, first serve, and is restricted to people 75 years or older, first responders, and healthcare workers. Now, one of the state's largest vaccination clinics taking place in West Mobile yesterday morning. Providence Hospital teaming up with Dayspring Baptist Church on Cody Road. They were trying to vaccinate 2,000 people with Pfizer vaccine. Providence grateful for the space to put on the mass event, and also looking ahead as the state expands vaccine distribution to 65 and older and frontline workers.
You know, when you have 50% of the population eligible, it's going to get busy. Having those appointments, it makes it a lot more manageable. You don't have people walking up or waiting in lines for hours. They know when their appointment is, and they know they can get in and out in 30 minutes.
Now, those who received the vaccine tell us they felt comfortable with the process.
I think the main reason that I enjoyed coming here was because I didn't have to go to a hospital or a doctor's office or someplace where there was people that are sick. Most of the people that come here wouldn't be sick, and so I felt safer.
I was expecting, to feel some symptoms, but I don't feel nothing. Feel fine. And didn't take a whole long time.
Yeah, you were in and out.
Yeah.
I
So
like it like that.
You and me both.
Yeah.
Now, Providence says they will announce more mass vaccination clinics on Monday for the West Mobile area and hope to have enough doses to run for 2 weeks. Meanwhile, with Johnson & Johnson's vaccine giving some hope for a single-shot solution, lawmakers on Capitol Hill continue debating over a relief package. Fox News correspondent Ray Bogan with the latest.
The hopes of returning to normal life are increasing. Johnson & Johnson announced its single-dose coronavirus vaccine is 66% effective overall. The company plans to apply for emergency approval with the FDA next week and says it can deliver 100 million doses to the U.S. by June.
It is very, very good with regard to cold chain requirements, namely requiring only a refrigerator. It is inexpensive, and the company is capable of making doses in the numbers of billions.
The White House Coronavirus Task Force says new strains spreading in the U.S. underscore the urgency for mass vaccinations and safety measures.
Viruses mutate, and they tend to mutate in ways that are advantageous to the virus. We expected this, and this is why I feel compelled to underscore for you the need for each of us to remain steadfast.
Now there's debate about how much economic help is needed if the country is rounding the final turn. President Biden wants Congress to pass $1.9 trillion in aid and hinted he's willing to do it without Republican support using a process called budget reconciliation.
The COVID relief has to pass. There's no ifs, ands, or buts.
Republicans are worried about the cost. Congress passed a $900 billion package in December, and there are protections in place like eviction moratoriums.
What we don't want to see is a trillion-dollar bill, multi-trillion-dollar bill, that is really just going to fund a lot of long-standing Democratic priorities.
If Democrats use budget reconciliation in the Senate, it would only need 51 votes to pass, not 60. They could start that process next week. Ray Bogan, Fox News.
Meanwhile, Eli Lilly and Company says they now have FDA authorization to simplify their COVID antibody treatment. As of December, the U.S. had only used 20% of its antibody treatment supply because of how difficult the treatment is to administer. Under current guidelines, a nurse wearing full protective gear had to give the treatment for an hour, then monitor the patient for another hour. The new rules could reduce infusion time to just 16 minutes. Well, a new federal mandate will require people to wear a mask while using any form of public transportation. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention issued the order. It goes into effect tomorrow night. Masks that cover the nose and mouth must be worn both on the ride and while waiting for it. This includes buses, trains, taxis, airplanes, boats, subways, or rideshare vehicles. Face shields and goggles can also be worn, but not in place of a mask. Children under 2 and people with a disability who cannot wear a mask are exempt. The CDC says it reserves the right to enforce the order through criminal penalties, but it hopes people will follow it voluntarily. The order will stay in effect until further notice.